The consequences of the war with Ukraine will hit Russia itself hard. The main threat is not even defeat at the front, but what will happen after, when tens and hundreds of thousands of armed, injured and deceived thugs return home and begin to take revenge not on Putin, but on neighbors, passers-by, their families. Researcher Elvira Bari writes about this in an article for the Spectator. Not the best were sent to war. The main contingent were poor people from remote corners of the country with a criminal past, alcoholics with no prospects in life. And for many of them, the army became a chance to feel like people, strong, respected, needed. But the fairy tale will end at the moment of demobilization. They will return with PTSD, with unfulfilled promises, with pain and hatred. It is already known that more than 240 people in Russia were killed by those who received pardons for participating in the war. Rapists, murderers, repeat offenders. The Kremlin will let them into the cities and villages again, and again it will pretend that nothing is happening. Many have already returned to their old ways of life, leaving behind a trail of rape, arson and murder. In the 2.5 years since the war began, several hundred civilians have already fallen victim. At least 242 people have died. Another 227 have received life-threatening injuries. With the trickle becoming a torrent, few will be happy to see these people, who will most likely bring with them aggression, demands and problems. Russians already understand that the whole heroic image of a soldier on TV is a lie. In reality, these are the ones who will go and demand, threaten and kill, because no one wants to live on a regular salary after 300 to 400,000 in military payments, and the state will soon cancel these payments along with the attention to the heroes. Local authorities are already preparing utilization. Some will be sent back to the army, others will be settled far from the cities, given symbolic posts. But the power, resources and respect will remain with the bureaucrats. Soldiers, even crippled ones, are of no use to anyone. They will not be allowed into cafes, will not be accepted in society, and at best will be made heroes on a poster. Thousands of men accustomed to resolving conflicts with weapons will go home. Heavy drinkers, unemployed, without fear of the law. They will not forgive either society or the state for their new poverty, and the state will pretend that nothing happened. Those who return from the war, especially the maimed ones, will become a symbol of what the Kremlin fears most of all, a living reminder of failure, pain and price. They will be hidden, pushed out, silenced, but they will not want to remain silent. They have already learned to kill, and they have returned home. I suspect a similar fate awaits those who return from this war, especially badly disfigured. They are a living reminder of the catastrophic price Russia paid for Putin's imperial ambitions, a price the Kremlin desperately wants everyone to forget, at least until they are ready to start a new war. The author of the article writes,
Russia's defense ministry released footage on Wednesday it said showed a strike on a Ukrainian army training ground in the Chernihiv region. According to Associated Press, the ministry said that the strike killed or wounded about 200 Ukrainian troops. Ukraine's 169th Training Center near Honcharivsk was hit with 2 Iskander missiles, one armed with multiple submunitions and another with high explosives, the ministry added. The video showed multiple small explosions apparently caused by a missile with a shrapnel warhead followed by one big blast, apparently from the other one armed with high explosive warhead. Ukrainian ground forces acknowledged that a Russian strike hit a military training ground in the Chernihiv region of northern Ukraine, but its casualty report differed widely from one issued by Moscow. On the night of July 29, explosions were heard in Russia's Rostov region. Drones struck the railway station in the city of Salsk, where a fire broke out. Russian media and the acting governor of the Rostov region, Yuri Slusar, reported the information. According to him, a passenger train was moved to a safe distance. Preliminary reports indicate there are no casualties or injuries. The head of the Rostov region added that in the city, a house and a car were damaged at different addresses. According to Russian telegram channels, about 5 to 7 explosions occurred in Salsk. After that, eyewitnesses reported a fire in the area of the local railway station. Later, the head of the Center for Countering Disinformation, Andriy Kovalenko, confirmed the attack on the railway and a certain resource base of the Russians in the city of Salsk, Rostov region. He stated that there is a logistics hub there for transferring resources, fuel, ammunition, and other cargo to the front in the Donetsk region, as well as south to the temporarily occupied Crimea and Zaporizhia region. The railway is the artery of war. Without logistics, the speed of the Russian army's actions at the front slows down, emphasized the head of the Center for Countering Disinformation. Meanwhile, the Russian Defense Ministry reports the downing of 74 drones over 5 regions. According to them, 43 UAVs were shot down over Bryansk region, 22 over Rostov region, 6 drones were allegedly destroyed over Kaluga region, 2 more over Smolensk region, and 1 drone over Leningrad region. According to Kiev Post, Ukrainian drones have been targeting rail infrastructure in southern Russia more frequently in recent weeks. On July 25, drones struck rail stations in Rostov and Krasnodar regions, delaying over 20 passenger trains. On July 21, a drone hit Kamenolomny station in Rostov, causing a fire and delaying 26 trains. The worst disruption came on July 19, when drone debris damaged power lines between Lakaya and Zamkolovo. Over 130 trains were delayed, some by up to 15 hours. The drone attacks appear to be aimed at disrupting Russia's military logistics and transportation systems. Russia's southern railway lines are known to be used for moving troops and equipment, especially toward occupied parts of Ukraine.
In a rare admission, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov acknowledged that Russia is currently fighting the war in Ukraine without any allies, a situation the country has never faced before in its history. Speaking to the Territory of Meaning Forum, Lavrov described Russia's current international position as one of isolation. Russia is fighting alone against the entire West, Lavrov said. For the first time in its history, Russia is battling the entire West without support. Russian Foreign Minister said, "We have a lot to do, and the most important thing we need to do is to defeat our enemy. For the first time in its history, Russia is fighting against the entire West alone. We had allies during both World War I and World War II. Now we have no allies on the battlefield, so we must rely only on ourselves. We must not lapse into or show weakness," Lavrov said. The Russian FM added that Western elites are openly showing their willingness to kill Russian soldiers. According to Lavrov, the Europeans seriously want to defeat us, and this, in my opinion, is confirmed every day. He noted that the attitude towards this among European elites has become almost self-evident. Also, the Russian FM drew attention to the fact that the West cannot give up the hegemony that it has enjoyed for the past 500 years. Lavrov believes that this is especially clearly expressed in today's Europe, where they strive to subordinate everything to their will and do not want to take into account even pragmatic considerations. Lavrov further emphasized that Russia would continue to pursue what it considers its legitimate security demands, which include Ukraine's non-alignment with NATO, a halt to NATO's eastward expansion, and the recognition of territorial realities, essentially Russia's annexation of Ukrainian territories. These, according to Lavrov, are non-negotiable conditions for any potential peace settlement. But recently, hundreds of mercenaries from 48 countries recruited to fight for Russia against Ukraine have been identified in an investigation by the independent Russian media outlet Important Stories. Despite Russian President Vladimir Putin's earlier claims that Russia had no need for foreign fighters, the data reveals widespread recruitment through official military selection points in Moscow. Journalists obtained names and nationalities of the mercenaries through a leaked database from the United Medical Information and Analytical System of Moscow. According to the publication, these individuals passed through Moscow's recruitment center between April 2023 and May 2024. Of the more than 1,500 foreigners processed, at least 1,300 have been identified by nationality. Nepal tops the list, joining the Russian army. The influx reportedly began in small groups in mid-2023, escalating to over 370 Nepalese recruits passing through the Moscow selection point in October alone. Other nationalities include citizens of Sri Lanka, China, India, Serbia, Cuba, and Latvia. From former Soviet states, recruits include citizens of Tajikistan, Uzbekistan and Belarus, Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan and Moldova. North Korean troops had fought alongside Russia since late 2024. They saw combat in Russia's Kursk Oblast, but didn't cross into Ukraine. That might soon change. Ukrainian officials assess that North Korea has additionally deployed 20,000 to 30,000 troops to Russia, though the number could be lower, a senior Western diplomat told, citing Ukrainian intelligence.